In Norse mythology, all the Asir gods like Odin and Thor resided in the grandest of all realms, Asgard, so it sure had to be way over well protected, and it was by a huge wall. But this wall wasn't always there. One day, a smith made his way to Asgard and promised to help the gods defend their house from any enemies by erecting a tall wall around it. The gods conferred among themselves, and from the beginning, Freya was firmly opposed to the giant's demand. However, Loki advised that the builder should get everything he wanted, but only if he could finish his task in a single winter and without the assistance of anybody other than his horse. The smith was a giant and claimed he could complete his work in a mere 3 seasons, but demanded a steep compensation, the hand of the goddess Freya in marriage, as well as the sun and moon. After much deliberation, the gods consented to Loki's plan. Of course, the gods had no intention of actually giving Freya away, nor the sun or the moon. They thought that the task they demanded was impossible, but the gigantic smith accepted their stipulations, on the condition that the gods take oaths promising to keep their part of the agreement if their requirements were completed, and that he himself would be secure in Asgard while he worked. The builders got to work building the wall, and when it was finished so quickly, the gods were astounded. The fact that the giant steed, Svadilfari, appeared to be carrying massive rocks over long distances to add to the structure was even more confusing to them. With just 3 days remaining until the end of winter, the wall was formidable enough to withstand practically any opponent and, alarmingly, needed only a little more work before it was completed. The only things not yet installed were the stones surrounding the gate. The frightened gods grab Loki and chastise him for such terrible advice. They threatened to kill him if he didn't figure out a way to stop the beast from completing his mission and taking the sun, moon, and their beloved goddess Freya, bringing perpetual darkness and gloom to the 9 worlds. With a pledge to follow the gods' will no matter what, Loki begged the gods to spare his life. That night, the giant and Svadilfari ventured into the snow-draped forest in search of stones. Along their way, a mare, who was none other than Loki in disguise, whinnied to the stallion from a short distance away. When the stallion saw the mare, his heart wasn't the only organ that was roused by delight and lust, and he snapped his reins and bounded into the woods after her. The mare ran all night, and all night Svadilfari chased after her. When morning came, the giant's horse was still missing, and the now despairing giant knew that there was no way that he could now finish the wall in time. The Asir then paid the giant the wages they deemed he deserved, a fatal blow from Thor's hammer, which shattered his head into pieces no bigger than breadcrumbs. Deep within the forest, Svadilfari had caught up with Loki and smashed him hard. He soon gave birth to a gray 8-legged horse, Sleipnir, who became the steed of Odin.